Julian Hayes II is an author, high-performance health and sleep consultant, and most importantly, a believer in limitless human potential. After deciding to leave the pursuit of medicine behind after 1 year to pursue an even bigger dream, Julian started the Art of Fitness and Life, where the mission is to help entrepreneurs and high achievers create more energy with predictability so they can make a bigger impact and operate with an unfair advantage in business and life. In addition to helping other clients in his private wellness and concierge practice, Julian has a weekly column at Inc. along with frequently appearing at places such as Entrepreneur, Success, Bodybuilding.com, and many others. Stay tuned for the interview with Julian Hayes II.
Welcome to the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast with your host, Emmett Muckles. Please visit iTunes, Stitcher, or emmettmuckles.com to listen to all the episodes for free.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast. This is your host, Emmett Muckles, your friend, your father, your confidant. No, I'm just kidding, guys. Today, I got my man, Julian Hayes II, and we're going to talk about, reaching that high level of performance, getting your peak performance. Here's one of the things that really stood out with me about this gentleman is because I am kind of like Jack. And if those of you who have not watched Fight Club, go watch Fight Club and you'll understand who Jack is. And I don't sleep very well. I have to go through rituals to sleep at least 6 to 7 hours a night. So maybe he can help me with this. What's up, Julian?
Man, how's it going, Emmett? It's going well over here. How about yourself?
I'm living the dream. And, it's weird because we live in this society that is always bombarding us with bad items that it makes you could have the perfect life and you will still question it.
Yeah, that's why I start my mornings off. I read my scouting report and my vision to get my mind right, because, the default environment out here is full of negativity and just things to bring us down, like you said.
It is so true. People asked me the other day, hey, did you see this on television? Did you see? I said, no. And they said, why? I was like, I really limit my television to about an hour a day. And when I go over that hour, it's usually succinct programming that I want to see, that I want to let into my consciousness. And it's usually in the form of documentaries or some sort of that nature. But that's enough about me. Let's get back to you. Tell me about your journey, my man. I mean, what got you to the point where you are now? I mean, we talked about it a little bit in the pre-intro, but I want to hear it from your point of view.
Yeah, so it starts as a skinny teenager, and health is not something that is really in my family. You would not see. None of my family members had a gym membership. Luckily, I played basketball, and that helped me keep the weight off. Thank goodness, because my pregame meal at basketball games was a 20-piece chicken nuggets with supersized fries and a sweet tea. So, the human body is fantastic, because I didn't have my first salad or anything like that until I was about 20.
Wow. Wow. Where were you living at this time? Was it the Midwest?
No, I was still in Mount Juliet, Tennessee. So that's about 20 minutes outside of Nashville. So it's a small city.
So that's fried food city anyway.
Oh yeah, fried foods. Yeah, everything's fried. Everything's sweet tea. It's just sugar, pretty much.
Yeah, and everything's very big too.
Yeah, everything's in excess. So, I'm playing basketball, and there's an older gentleman that walks in, and he's much older than all of us. And he is running up the court like he's 16. And I'm like, wow, who is this dude? He's like a cheat code. And
that's a good one.
and after the game, we start talking and everything. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, well, age is just really just a number that just indicates how long you've been alive. And it's really important. It's really, what really matters is what you put in your body and how you treat it. And I was like, okay. And then that stuck with me. And then as I got to college, I don't know, for some reason that just started buzzing in my head more. And I needed some confidence. I wanted to impress some women a little bit, and so I started my fitness and health journey, and I spent a lot of my weekends just reading and studying. And by the time college ends, I'm thinking, what do I need to do? And so I decided to pursue medical school. And when I went to medical school, I went to New York, and that changed my life. And it changed my life because I come from a fairly conservative home, and New York is anything but conservative. It's full of characters. And up there, I meet people who are doing odd jobs. They're basically living on their terms. They're combining their passion with kind of their lifestyle. And up until that point, I thought the only way that I could really enjoy like my health was to go be a surgeon. Yeah. Well, I didn't think that you could actually, the thing of entrepreneur or anything like that, I've never even considered. I just thought that was for like a special group of people. So that was totally over my mind. So that seed was planted in my head. And then that summer I come home after my first year, and I just wake up in the middle of one night and I just start smiling, and I'm just smiling out of nervousness as well, because I know what's about to happen is that I'm not going back. And so now, the next day I tell people, hey, I'm not going back to school. I'm going to start writing and building a health coaching business. And they're like, did you get drugged? Like, what did they do to you up there? Did they do something to you? It's like, no, I just had a feeling. I just started listening to a little voice that I think has been there all along. And I just kept trying to ignore it. And so so that's how I got to where I am now. And I've been doing this for, a decent amount of time now. I think I forgot, maybe 5 years full time now. And
so you met Morpheus one night.
Yeah. I took the pill.
You took the pill. You could be Neo. You could be Neo. That's very well true.
Yeah, I took the pill. I think, maybe Lower East Side or something.
I want to ask you, one of the biggest items or things that we suffer when we change anything in our life, particularly with our bodies, is our energy level. And so there's two things that we kind of have to balance out that go hand in hand, which is energy and time. If you go to school for any kind of engineering, that falls into the equation: energy over time, time and energy. How does that equate in people's lives so that they can balance that out and live maximally?
Well, I look at it quite simply that managing your time, we're brought up to adored to time management. We hear this all the time, but I thought about this one day that managing your time can feel right, but it doesn't practically make sense, because I can have all the time in the world, but if my energy is not there, then it doesn't matter about that time.
That's so true.
And so, and so that kind of switched the paradigm for me to like, if I have better energy and better health, then the time that I do have is going to quadruple in terms of the output and efficiency that I can attack it with, because I'm going to be in a more high performing state.
Yeah. Do you have these epiphanies when you're in your moments alone about your life and business? Because I have them totally when I'm not conscious of anyone else. And my wife is always like, you're not in the moment. I'm like, I am in the moment. I'm in my moment. You're encroaching. Leave me alone, because I'm having an epiphany. And sometimes they don't just come like boom. They come in fragments and they build up on each other like a little house, and you go, oh, now I get it. Do you have those as well?
Absolutely. And so mine is with music. So I have some jazz on and I go for a walk, or I just lay down on the floor or something and just let the music go and just let my mind wander. And then all of a sudden the most random things come up, and then you can just start piecing them together. And then I have like papers all over my journal, and then like notes on the computer. And then eventually I get around to just connecting all those things.
That's so awesome. I'm not alone. I mean, you have your process and I have my process. Let me ask you, what kind of jazz are you listening to? New school or old school?
A lot of Coltrane, Davis, some bossa nova. So I was made fun of a lot because, oh, you listen to old music, you're a little kid, you know, but I don't know, something about it spoke to me. So I can't play instrument. Writing and what I'm doing now is I feel is the closest thing I can to doing some music things. So that's, I feel like an artist. So when I sit down to work, I don't say, oh, I'm a coach or I'm just a writer. I'm attacking it like I'm an artist, like a recording artist.
So you're a real mind person. I mean, you're a mind, body, spirit person. You're the billionaire lifestyle. You get it from your own perspective. And
absolutely.
And humans, you know, I always try to convey this to people. I'm like, we've forgotten more than we know. And you're a proponent of limitless potential as well. Do you have trouble conveying that to others? Like, here's my philosophy on us.
Yeah, it's a work in progress. I cannot have people believe that in 24 hours. But I think in small doses, it's like a slow marinade.
Yeah.
You can start to get them to see it. And a lot of it starts with what you're looking at, what you're focusing on, what information are you allowing to become into your body? What are you filling your mind with? Like one of the craziest things recently that I've been telling people is that we're going to be able to live to 150 plus years old sooner rather than later. And they're like, no, man, what are you talking about? No, the U.S. life expectancy is 70 years old. No, man. And so it's allowing people to wander, to just wander for a minute.
Yeah.
Because like there's so much limitless potential in me means like you have everything you need right now to craft whatever life you want. Because like we have all these books, we have Google. 5 seconds, I can start to learn anything I want.
Oh my God. Say that again, because this is a pet peeve of mine. You and I you could probably be my son, but generationally, I am so upset with the world because people don't realize that literally most information is at your fingertips. Like I can learn how to dissect my transmission and put it back together and put it in a different vehicle in maybe an hour, where that would have taken me months, years, and weeks to learn prior. So, but I wanted to comment on one thing. You are right. We will probably be able to live to 150 or beyond, especially with AI and just in our base level of physical structure, if we maintain it right. The only thing that will stop us is that our minds are not ready to live that long. Because I've seen people like, I'm ready to check out. Like, you're doing great. No, I'm just tired. Have you ever heard anyone say, I'm just tired of this?
Yeah. And I see that, like you said, a lot of people, as they progress into later stages of life, and it's one of my key. So I have a few key pillars when it comes to energy. And one of my first ones is mission. And I think we all need to have some sort of mission. Some people call it a purpose, whatever you want to call it. But I think we need something like that to kind of propel us throughout the days. Because if you don't have anything like that, you kind of just lose track of the days and it just gets boring and just quite frankly, not exciting. because you have no reason why you're just doing things. You're just doing things just to do things.
Right.
And eventually you'll get tired of that because there's no direction in that.
It's kind of like a superhero with no villain.
Yes, it's a very boring one. That's one reason why I don't like Superman.
Why? Because
I don't think the villains are good enough. And he has all the powers in the world. So I don't like it. Yeah.
But you like Batman, right?
I appreciate Batman because he's a little darker, broodier.
He's got issues.
Yeah. He gets beat up a lot, but then he comes back. So I like resiliency.
So we've talked about, kind of the mental aspects in relationship to the physical aspects. And we're coming up into 2019. I hate dating any podcast that I do, but this is going to be relevant for time to come. And as we approach this 2019, the beginning of the year, everyone is going to A, go join the gym. B, they're going to start a new diet. They're going to do that for probably about 45 days. Then it's a wrap. They're going back to their old life. Why is that?
Oh man, this is not a sexy answer. And sometimes this makes people mad. So one of the biggest reasons why people fail or fall short, I don't like to use the word failure. So a fall short with their diets is just a failure to understand themselves. And what I mean by themselves is people don't really know themselves well. It's tempting to just jump on the current fad. So I think at the moment it's something like a ketogenic diet.
Yeah.
It's something to do that. And while it might be good for one person, it's not good for you. So you really have to think about your bio individuality, which is just a fancy word of saying, your unique makeup. And so one of the first things I do and tell people to do is just to not immediately jump on a diet, but to audit yourself. So look into your particular lifestyle. Would a ketogenic diet even work with your particular lifestyle? Would that mesh with that? Look at things such as your past tendencies. Why couldn't you stick to a diet in the past? What are some of those things? Then after you have that ammunition up, then you can make a plan that's more fail proof, because now you know what are some things that you stumbled on in the past. And now in the present, you shouldn't make those same mistakes because you have a plan laid out to address those specific things. And therefore, after that's laid out, now you're finally able to pick a diet or a particular nutritional lifestyle that is more catered to you, your individual lifestyle, and your preferences.
Do you ever think about the fact we are a diverse biodome individually, and we come from very specific regions historically, and those regions dictate our diet? Because one thing that I realized a long time ago is people who are non-native to the United States, when they come to the United States, they all get fat.
It's true. And when I left the U.S. for around 7 weeks, I lost weight without even trying. I didn't even want to.
Yep. I did the same thing.
Yeah. Just because of the way the environment is set up. Like I had to walk so much. And I couldn't just go to a store and just bulk buy all these foods. So there is definitely some validity to that.
Yeah, like the first time I went to Austria, I was amazed. I was absolutely amazed. I went to Austria. I went to Prague. I was there for like 14 days. I ate constantly. I drank alcohol constantly. I came back here thinking my liver is going to be under assault from all the fat and sugar and alcohol I consumed. I was 2 pounds lighter. The pastries, I'm not even a pastry kind of dude.
I've never been a pastry kind of dude, but I went crazy on pastries in Portugal.
Oh yeah.
And then the wine was so good. But then, like you said, I came back and I was like, I lost 7 pounds. Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Like, and I think a lot of it has to do with kind of like how Europe's a little more stricter in terms of like the ingredients and the foods that you use in your food.
Yeah. You remember we had this conversation offline about nationalism. So they're really prideful about protecting the nation. So the regulations on food and the regulations on chemicals are a lot more stringent. For instance, that's what my wife was telling me. She was like, we can't have all these preservatives. And B, the stuff has to be locally sourced. So which means it's not that far from here. So it's not been sitting in a warehouse for 3 to 6 months frozen. It's probably been a couple of days and it's all, off to you. So it doesn't have that component which can alter your body chemistry like the American food. She's like, because I cannot lose weight here. I was like, you can, you just have to run everywhere like Forrest Gump.
Yeah, or you just got to bulletproof your environment.
Yeah, I mean, but it's so difficult.
Yeah. That's why like crafting a strategy and game plan is literally 75% of the battle.
Yeah, because they say most of your fitness is diet and sleep. So let's get to the sleep component and why it's so critical for our overall functionality and health.
Yeah, well, if you think about it, every facet of life is connected on a string with sleep. You're socially connected with sleep, and you're professionally definitely related to sleep, and then your health related to sleep, particularly regulating your appetite. There's been countless research studies now that have shown that the shorter your sleep, the more wild your appetite could be.
Oh, and you're right. Because I was a chunky boy when I wasn't sleeping.
Yeah. And it's also, that makes it harder to lose weight because that's affecting your metabolism as well. And so then a lot of people are interested in fat loss. And so there's a difference between fat loss and weight loss. And there's a study, if I remember off the top of my head, done at the University of Chicago. And one group was in bed for 8.5 hours. And the other group was in bed for around 5.5 or 6 hours. And just by being in bed 8.5 hours, you had a 55% greater reduction in fat loss compared to the other group. Now, they both lost the same amount of weight, but the group that slept more lost more body fat, which is what you want.
So you're saying that the people who were not sleeping as much were losing muscle as well as fat?
Exactly. Yeah.
Ooh.
And then depending on our body type, so like a person like me, so I'm
ectomorph?
I'm pretty much a waster. Yeah, you can call it ectomorph. More people are familiar with that. That kind of talk came from like Ayurvedic stuff, but that's all deep in the weeds. So, I'm like a hybrid. So I'm an ectomorph, but then also I have a little, endomorph in me, which helps me. So I have the best of both worlds, but I can also have the worst of both worlds.
How tall are you?
5'11".
And how much do you weigh?
Right now, I'm a little over 185.
Yeah, I was that. So I'm maybe an inch taller than you. Mm-hmm. And so I was extremely skinny when I was a kid. And I remember this, I was in the locker room. We had moved to the suburbs and we were changing. This big football guy goes, "How did you get those abs?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "You've got an 8-pack at like 16. It's like, I don't know. So I talked to my dad and I was like, "Dad, this guy was talking about my abs." He's like, "That's 400 years of genetic programming, son."
Yeah, see, I wasn't that lucky. So I didn't just have a ready to go 6-pack. So I didn't have that. So I was more along the lines of being kind of skinny fat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So cause I've built myself up to as much as 215.
Whoa. That's heavy for you.
Yeah, that was not cool. I thought it was cool, but then like I was playing like running and basketball. I'm like, I'm having, it's breathing is difficult. So I'm staying in the 190s.
Yeah. I can't get down to 190s. I look like I've been hitting a crack pipe when I get down. It's just.
See, that's, this is kind of a subject that's very important to remember when people are trying to change their bodies, trying to lose weight, is that we all have different body set points in different shapes by our bone structures. So you kind of just need to embrace whatever you were given and just accept it. Like for the longest, I really wanted to have the big, muscular, thick power look. And I just don't have it. Like I'm always going to look pretty lanky, but to some people that's called an athletic look, so you just embrace it.
Hey, you just made me think of another question because I have this issue. So I can historically I could build muscle fast. I'm older now, so it takes a lot more work for me to build that muscle, but I still have the overall girth, the shape to it. But one of the things I really, really struggle with is mobility. And I think, part of it is genetics. And the other part is that I put on a whole lot of muscle when I was much younger, but didn't stretch much. So my back is a little rounded because I was watching myself do yoga. I was like, ew, gross. I have shoulder issues, mobility issues where I can't go back. I can't do certain things. Do you address that with your clients as well, or with people, or in the articles that you write?
Yeah. So I don't normally write those, but in like my practice, I have a guy who he does the exercise and mobility portion because he really loves that. And so I love exercise, but he really loves exercise. I'm more of a nutrition, sleep, and epigenetic guy. Yeah. And so that's my area. And so, so I have the exercise guy. He takes care of all of that. But speaking on that though, I've been lucky when it comes to mobility stuff. Yeah. And so for some reason I was disciplined enough to do it starting the last few years. And so it's just really a continual practice of daily addressing your mobility. And yoga is a very good thing to do over time. That will help. Right now it's pretty ugly. That's kind of how I felt in yoga. Like I still can't do a lot of the poses in yoga because of just the way the shoulders are. Oh yeah. 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 But that's fine. But you're still, working on your posture. And also like when you're sitting and stuff, I would probably also be mindful of that, or just not sit as long and then take routine breaks. That's impossible nowadays. Everything is sitting. I know. That's why like we have to go against that. We have to resist I don't want to be the anti-mainstream guy, but generally speaking, whatever is becoming mainstream is generally probably you want to avoid. Almost. Now, it's not, there's no absolute, so not always, but for most part, cause we have a contingency of people now who they'll work out 3 days a week for an hour, but the rest of the time they're sitting 10 hours. Yeah. And so they're really only getting maybe 2,000 steps a day. And that's barely more active than someone who doesn't do anything. Yeah. You know what's changed my life is my no plug here Samsung smartwatch. No plug here. I'm being honest. But it literally tells me how many steps I take. I mean, it's not the most accurate because I'm a techie person. So I actually I'm like, it missed like 5 steps there. What's going on? But there are some days where if I go to the gym in the morning, which is like 5 a.m, and then I go and do my various things, I can get like 12,000, 13,000 steps in a day. Whew. That's awesome. My average is about 6,500. And I never paid attention, but I did pay attention on the day where I only hit like 2,300. I was on the couch all day. Literally. And I hit 2,000 some odd steps. I was like, how is that possible? So, and this is tougher for people who live in probably areas kind of like I am right now, where everything is so spread out. That's kind of one of the difficulties in America compared to Europe. That's the main difference right there, is the way things are built. and you can walk everywhere. So it's easy to get 10,000 steps over there.
Yeah, it's true.
Here, you have to drive everywhere. Everything's spread out. And that automatically reduces activity in itself.
Yeah. Each of us is this universe. We're all built up of these cells, and they're individual, but they're also part of the fractal collective. Because, as the universe is, if you kind of really get down to the base components that comprise us, we're all these little galaxies and planets and stuff like that are revolving around each other and working together in cohesion to keep us together, which makes us billionaires because they're so small. To build us who we are, it has to be a billion. But the fifth dimension part of us, which is that thing that you say rock star and you hear it in your head. You hear it, you see it, but no one else does. That's the part that keeps us together. Now, what small habits can that fifth dimension you and that physical you do to keep it all together from your point of view?
Well, the first thing is to have what I call extreme mentors. And I'll explain on this. So I think there's an assault on our mind. There's an attack on it.
Yes.
We go to social media, and it's all illusions. And as we're going after this billionaire lifestyle and going after limitless potential, there will be some doubts on the way. There will be naysayers. There will be tough moments. And the key is to just still persist through that. And there's no better way to do that than to go back in history and look at extreme mentors. So extreme mentors are simply people who overcame super difficult situations and still persistent. And what I do is I look at them and then I think about some of the problems that I have, or at least in quotations. And then I start laughing. Well, I don't really laugh, but I just like, come on, man, you're kind of soft.
Yeah.
And I think, so one of those people, I look at, Viktor Frankl in Man's Search for Meaning and everything that he went through in the concentration camps. I look at Frederick Douglass teaching himself how to read and everything. And I'm complaining about some tech issues in my business. Like if he was sitting beside me, I just imagine he would be laughing. He'd
be like, you wuss.
Yeah. And I think I read a lot of history books and I just look at like military generals. I look at people like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King and just the trials and tribulations they went through and the grit and leadership they still showed to the end. And I think that my little problems, I'll be okay. I'll be okay.
You know what? A lot of times nowadays, I have to, A, shut up. B, I embarrass myself a lot. And I realize that I embarrass myself after the fact, like way after the fact. I'm like, God, that was not appropriate. But I actually like being inappropriate because it pushes the envelope. Because I even say this about myself. You are absolutely correct, Julian. We are soft. Soft.
Yeah, I'll admit it. I'm part of the soft generation. Don't get me wrong. This is why, like, I have to read this to get rid of softness. Like, because I don't know. This is like, I have a theory. So this is not my area of expertise, but I just have I think my parents were almost making up a little bit for the difficulties that they faced. And they really wanted to make life great for us. And in the process, maybe they sheltered us a little too much.
Guilty.
But it's not their fault. But it's not their fault. And you can't really blame them. So, they were just doing what they think was best. And so, it's up to, my generation to get rid of the softness themselves and stop blaming others for whatever things that they're offended by and et cetera and et cetera.
Okay. We're going to have an addendum on this podcast. We're going to have an addendum because we're about to have a conversation. But before we get to that, where can everybody find you?
You can find me at theartoffitnessandlife.com, and there you will see tons of resources to help you on your way in 2019 and beyond, and never fall off the wagon again.
And are you speaking? Do you have any groups? Twitter, Pinterest, YouTube, the whole shebang?
So there should be a podcast out fairly soon. And I have a precision wellness and concierge practice, which is just simply where we work one-on-one with you in a very detailed and sometimes overwhelming manner, but it's for your best interest.
You said overwhelming.
This way. Because I want you to be the last person that you have to go to, and then you'll have all the tools you need.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my mission with that. But then other than that, I am on social, but I'm not really good at social media. Like I can go for weeks without appearing on social media. So, but you know, I think I like Instagram the best, even though I haven't posted there in like 5 months. It's my favorite platform.
Yeah.
So, I'll be on Instagram. I think it's Julian Hayes, II.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you for being on the Billionaire Lifestyle podcast.
Thank you for having me on. It's been a pleasure to just have this conversation. I really enjoyed it.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is how it ends. It doesn't end. We are the creators of so much of what we experience. So think of it this way. 100 years ago, if someone contracted a disease, they were done. We've thought or consciously pulled a remedy out of somewhere. We've forgotten more than we know. You may not believe that, but it's true. Everything is right there in front of your eyes. Everything is right there in front of your third eye. So that means you have a catalog of information that is available to you. You just have to figure out how you must access it. You are a part of the God body, which means you are part of something greater. And just like a single cell in your body is important, you are important to the universe. Remember, get out the shower, drop your robe, and revel in the fact that you have that beautiful skin, you have those eyes, you have the sensories, you are a human being. When you feel lonely, listen to my voice and know that you are loved. Till next time, peace.